Hey guys and gals, me Direfun here, shameless ripoff of Some Ordinary Gamers. I'm coming at you again with part 4 of with another part of Pokemon Uranium. Thought I'd go ahead and review a few more while I got the time. So, I'm here again, starting out with number 78. Kokaran. Oh, coconut thing! Okay. When Kokaran retracts its eyes and legs, it is almost indistinguishable from a coconut. Their shells are very buoyant, so they float in the water. Okay, does that mean they're mostly empty too? Oh, Kararam and Kokancer. Okay. And you give it coconut milk. Okay. You know, Pokemon often doesn't make sense, but giving a coconut water to help it grow is a little strange. I guess it makes sense. So, its design. I really kind of like it. It's very much like a crustacean, using just scrap that it found around the beach as a shell. But I guess this implies that the coconut grows on the creature, which makes me question everything about coconuts in the Pokemon world. So, I wonder how many of Kokarans get mistakenly eaten if they get too near an Executor. Especially a Loan Executor. Okay. Oh, and it becomes a pumpkin. That's kind of adorable. And a great... Okay. So, it's very lifelike coloring here, the coconut being a very brown or orange, and the body looking almost like seaweed and green. I like how odd its eye stalks are. Not many Pokemon that I can think of have eye stalks, which... I gotta think about that. It's kind of cool. It makes the creature look pretty unique. But they did it in a very cute looking way, where it's just the black orbs at the end. It doesn't have any sort of eyelids or anything, and just a small little mouth. I could see this being a solo or a one stage. Yeah, the design is very intricate for a baby Pokemon, but I like it. The shapes are very minimalist. It's a lot of round shapes, just like a lot of baby Pokemon. But it also has enough lanky shapes that, to me, it feels like it's a one-stage Mon. I'm curious how the others go. I don't think... So, lastly, I think I will say that I do like the simplicity of the inspired ideas. So, having a coconut and seaweed... What? Grass ground. Ooh. To me, it conveys water very well. Maybe like normal water, grass water. Probably grass water more than anything, because, again, you're thinking... coconut water, coconut milk. Ground, though. The shading conveys ground, but it's textured and looks like a coconut, which, to me, again, either seems like water or more grass. So I would not be able to get that. I guess the next two look like they could be water ground, or a grass ground. Unlike their pre-evolutions, Kararam cannot swim, so they stay on land. The height of their palm tree indicates how close they are to evolving. Okay. That is a thick boy. It's got a hunchback for days. So it looks like the claws turned into, or from, little bits of coconut to full halves of coconut, so it's quite a bit bigger. The legs have sprouted feet. Maybe the feet are supposed to look like roots, which would help the design a bit more, but the legs being such a bright, vibrant green like the pre-evolution, then becoming brown, it's throwing me off. Maybe if they were plated with coconut bits instead of being all brown, they would look better to me. It kind of fits the motif of using a coconut to help better defend itself. Or maybe if the legs themselves were brown. No, I like the vibrant green near the base. Yeah, I would have shaded the legs and edited the feet so that it looks like coconut shell on each of the claws. And then the hunchback of this creature, it's very bulky. So it's giving off more of a tank, a slow walking creature, that kind of design. But it looks like a really thick palm tree, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. I guess that's what Executor is, the original one. But even then, I feel like it comes to a point better to show off the heads before tapering off into leaves. So maybe if the leaves did something different to make it look thinner or newer, maybe sprouting more up and away, or if the back was tapered more, came to a point, it would look better. It just looks a bit bulky, too bulky for the design you're trying to push. Again, I like the eye stalks, and now that it's a higher evolution, having eyelids makes it look more matured, more ready to fight, more done with the world. And now Kokancer. Kokancer bury themselves in the sand and are indistinguishable from ordinary palm trees. When prey walks by, they leap out with surprising speed and crush it with massive claws. I know for certain that there's a fish that does this. I'm fairly certain that there's a crab that does this. So I love the real-world influence there. I also much prefer this design than the other. The legs look like one cohesive unit as opposed to two separate entities almost, like the previous one. So even though it's almost like rounded palm trees, it could stick those straight in the ground if it had enough power and hide it, or if one popped out it would look like a fallen palm tree. So there's still uses for its legs, and it fits an overall design, and it's able to give it a distinct pattern that kind of looks like an insect leg, along with the different growths on a palm tree. I absolutely love the texturing on the sand. They did a real great job on showing the grains of sand in the shadow of this mon. Oh boy, that's actually intimidatingly good from what I can see. It's definitely showing more eye, again, making it seem more lived in, like it's been around longer. Having little details of a starfish and a shell really add to a full sense of security to anybody who's approaching, and it just helps break up the very boring only sand on the back of this creature, if it was just the sand in the palm tree. So instead of adding a pattern, they added specific entities that really helps to break it up and add to the design. The claws look absolutely huge compared to the real coconuts that are growing on Kokancer's back. It's really strange if you try and think about how big those would really be. 5 feet in diameter? Maybe? That's big. Yeah, that's big. Oh, and then the Halloween sprite looks so dope. It's almost like a cylinder pumpkin, and the little vines twirling away. I have no idea why they have holiday sprites for some mon, but I absolutely love it. And then the branches or roots coming out of the pumpkin from the bottom, it doesn't make much plant or nature sense if a gourd has a root growing through it, but it looks pretty nifty. All in all, the first and last I love a lot, but I do have some problems with the second evolution. That being said, I didn't mention that I do like the texturing along the second evolution to show a young palm tree, the lining on a young palm tree. It helps break up the regular tan design, much like Kokancer uses sand and various items to break up that design. Oh, Cressola. Oh, they did their own evolution of Cressola. Corsoreef. Their bodies are a host to a wide variety of other species. In return for a home, they give Corsoreef the ability to inflict status effects on its foes. Oh, that's weird from the back. So Corsoreef, it kind of looks like a caterpillar with all sorts of sea entities growing around it. I do really love the coat, or the collar scarf growing around Corsoreef's neck. It makes it look just a little bit regal and kind of draws the connection between a lion and its mane, giving it an older, experienced look. Growing out its body is a very direct way to make it look grown, and elongating its limbs so that it has room to do so. And then dotting it with the different colors of entities growing on it. Very cool. It almost looks like age spots, it's so old. But it's really just it helping out other creatures, and in turn, getting new colors? Water rock still completely makes sense. With a harder, still plant-based material, I can understand why it would be rock underwater. And then, because the connection with Cressola is already there, with the very thick and almost plated horns coming out of it, I think that it's understandable that it's still water rock. With all the green, though, you could mistake it for water grass or grass rock. You're almost relying on a nostalgia or previous memory to convey water rock in its design. If you had no idea what this was or what Cressola was, I don't think that water rock would be conveyed in Reef's design. At best, maybe water grass. But the pink confuses the rock typing just enough that the other parts of it overpowers. Which is why I think Cressola by itself is such a good design. It doesn't rely on browns to convey rock. It's the texture of the silhouettes that Cressola makes. That being said, I do find Reef enjoyable to look at. It's kind of cool, and I think I'd like it on my team. But yeah, I really like the body shape. I'm a bit iffy on whether or not the two shades of green or turquoise and green match well with the pink, but I do like the standard garbage green with the pink. I think that looks really cool in the front-facing sprite. I really adore. Tubberjaw, the Jaws Pokemon. Tubberjaw are able to unhinge their jaws in order to swallow prey larger than its head. Their teeth are sharper than razors. Okay, so the way I'm picturing this is it's squished down, and I'll try and find a reference image, but of one of those extending tubes so that it could open its body to hold in more creatures, or a bigger creature. It's kind of like a snake that's squished in, just to conserve energy. I like how much of this design relies on diamonds, and a chain of diamonds, for Tubberjaw. Tubberjaw, maybe? Water Dark. Okay, so with Water Dark, I find it interesting what colors they chose, with the purples and blue, along with a bright, vibrant green. They're dark enough shades of the previous two, of the former two, that it really does convey a dark type, along with its angry, dark irised eyes, and the large teeth. And then it being a fish is going to convey water, so I think the typing is very well represented, despite the strange color choice that they made, which is always a plus in my book. Despite being the previous form of a dual evolution Pokemon, it being so spiky due to both its teeth and the details of those teeth, its jaw entirely, because even its smile curls up into a point, and then basically every point in its body is either a straight line or a point, a vertices. So it's giving off a very dangerous vibe. When it evolves, it follows basically the same mechanics, the same design philosophy, but then just makes it longer, which is a perfectly valid way to show that a creature has grown more. Speaking of Tubberjaw, or Tubberjaw, I'm not sure which. A fierce Deepsea Hunter. This Pokemon is particularly vengeful towards humankind and will tear up fishing nets. I thought it was going to go somewhere else other than fishing nets. I find it interesting how the fins have turned into a brighter shade of purple, and the green is much more present in its overall design. It doesn't make it look more threatening, but it does make it pop out to your eye more. Maybe it uses intimidation more than its ferocious nature when it comes to warding off humans when in the game. I can't think of if they're trying to tie it in with evolution, I can't think of an evolution need to become more scary if you're easier to spot. All in all, I like the concept and I really like the design. It's so strange just to see a Pokemon inspired by basically one shape, and to be so vicious, I absolutely love. I'm not too crazy about the shiny, but like nuclear forms, reducing it down to basically a color or a shade, along with a pop in color, it looks very cool. Snail. It dissolves minerals in sand and uses them to form a hard carapace on its back. It lives in coastal regions. Okay, so it's almost like a glassy shell? Or it builds... Oh, that's so cool. I like this better than Sandygast. So groundwater, being a blue slug through its entire line, and having a sandcastle on its back through its entire line. I'm not even going to comment on groundwater. It's perfect. Perfect typing. It can't get any better. I'm going to talk about the whole line. It's almost like you took Lapras and made it more regal and gave it evolutions. So it starts off with a very, very basic looking slug. The only thing that makes it look interesting is that the shell on its back is a castle and that it has antenna. Aside from that, it is a bulbous slug with no limbs. It does have a mouth, but it's barely distinguishable in the sprite, other than its lower jaw being a lighter color. Interestingly, they forewent like super adorable big anime eyes and went for a clear white, just a colored in iris with a white pupil. It's very stark and makes this creature look very confident, especially with its adamant eyebrows. Or what seem to be eyebrows. With the back sprite, it's hard to tell. It could be just the angle of the antenna continuing down the eye makes it look very, well, again, adamant. Oh, and the second anniversary, it looks so adorable with a little cake in its mouth. That's absolutely adorable, and I love the shading on what seems to be a strawberry? That's adorable. Sabaloo? Oh, that's very strange. The colorful patterns on its shell make them desirable to collectors. Their cast-off shells are often used in jewelry. Very interesting. Again, it looks very regal, this one having a coat with a very large collar. It really helps to break up the design and add in a little bit of orange that isn't just on the castle. I feel like this could have been well used when it came to Escartress, the next evolution, which just relies on a lot of white. But this one brings both the orange and the white together by making it look like an inner shirt and a coat. I absolutely love it. I'm very curious as to where its eyes are, because looking at the sprite and looking at the art, are the eyes the bigger two circles or the smaller two circles with giant eyebrows? Because I kind of like the giant eyebrows more. Especially with it being a middle evolution, it could still have weird size proportions. And making it look really angry, continuing on with the antenna, like, could be misconception from what I saw last evolution. I absolutely love it. It's still a bold little rascal, and I want to keep it that way. Escartress. Okay, so there are two pairs of eyes. Interesting. Its shell has hardened into a nearly unbreakable fortress. It shoots water from the turrets on its back. Is the castle hollow? The turrets don't exactly have cannons. Yes, they're called turrets, but that's not what those turrets are for. Not generally, unless you have, like, lots of archers. Okay, so, all in all, I like the design. However, I think you could have kept going with the coat idea from Sabaloo. Instead, this one, it kind of forms a mane around its head, like an eyebrow mane. It's a little strange, and I miss having orange elsewhere in the design just to break up the sandcastle and make it look like one cohesive creature. Having all of one color be stuck on one end of a creature makes it look like two separate entities, or maybe like it's wearing something. If you want to make a design look more cohesive, I think an easier step to do would be to mix in the colors, uniform them together just a little bit more. That being said, it's not a bad design. I find it strange how the center mass has become a circle, having looked like an inner shirt before in the previous evolution. Now being relegated to a circle makes it look strange and almost not what it was before. But I like the changes, both to how angular the face is in this evolution compared to the previous two. It makes it look more regal, more like a horse. or something that would be able to carry you, so this looks very large. Same with the castle on its back. It looks, again, rather large. Maybe you could lean up against it as it's floating through the water. And it's a little strange how the tendrils of a slug have become 6 distinct flippers. They gradually decrease in size, forming that mass of slug again. But I like it. It's a change up for a slug type Pokemon. I can't remember the name of them, but in Gen 4, these two slugs that I'll put a picture of, their tendrils look like arms at one point, but they don't look like distinct arms, and I really like Escartress's choice to keep them distinct here. The little neck flippers, it's a good way to break up design and maybe accentuate water type a bit more, but I don't think that they were entirely necessary. They help show off that it's a final stage evolution again by making the design more intricate, but I feel like you could have done that with adding more orange in. I like the design. It looks pretty cool to me, but I would have done things differently, which, as we've established, is a few of these designs in this dex. I'm gonna take a quick break, 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Next up, Newpin, or Newpin? Is that supposed to be an eye or a mouth? I think I like eye better. Newpin is the largest single-celled organism on the planet. It obtains energy from photosynthesis. So, it wouldn't need a mouth. Good, it's an eye! In fact, it's a strange-looking eye that I kind of like. Oh yeah, in the sprite it looks much more like an eye. So for a baby Pokemon, and oh my god, the next one looks so cool! For a baby Pokemon, again, a very simple, rounded design. I like how it... Oh, grass electric. That makes so much more sense. It looks like it has a magnet, like it's supposed to represent electromagnetism. And then it brings in yellow that definitely signify it could be electric, especially that vibrant of a yellow. Along with very vibrant green to show off like it could be moss, it could be grass, something to signify in your brain that it could be a grass type. I'm not quite sure how a single-celled organism could have any sort of biomass growing on it, but if it's the largest in the world, I suppose it's possible. Yeah, I don't know. But its singular eye. In the art, it looks like it is a teardrop shape, which I find very interesting. Usually I see eyes kind of like a rounded diamond, bringing together the shark. But this one almost forgoes one end of it and rounds it off, which if you used it on a regular creature could make it look really sad by having it bend its points towards the upper end. Or maybe like really sassy, or sad. I guess they're both sad, but more crying sad, or misunderstood. Maybe that would be it. It questioning or sad if you did it that way. Maybe angry if you tried to tilt it up towards the temple. But that might be an interesting way to take eyes and not have it be like standard anime, standard angry looking, but use the structure of its eye, of an eye itself, to try and represent an emotion without using eyebrows or covering up the eye in any angry way. As a side note, the Galarian bird, I love its design, because in the feathers it looks like it's supposed to have an angry eye, but it's really just open entirely. It's pure deception, and I find it completely amazing, and a great way to show off evolution, where it's trying to scare off enemies, without hindering its own abilities. So making Rookity have complete vision when it's looking towards something, but making it look like it's really angry. I really like this design. Very simple. It's supposed to be a single-celled organism, so it kind of looks like a slug. Sure, I'll buy it. It almost looks like it's wearing a blanket, but if it's to photosynthesize and to gather electricity through the sun, it looks enough like a solar panel that I really dig it. It looks like an organic, mossy solar panel to me. Jellion or Jellion, I'm gonna call it Jellion, looks very much the same. It looks like it's wearing a giant solar panel blanket with little lights on its feet and maybe some motor on its joints, on the elbows or shoulders. Well, it's weird how it's sitting like a dog, I will say. The energy that Jellion generates from photosynthesis is converted into electromagnetic pulses. Called it. It uses these as a mean of propulsion. So again, it's like a motor in the joints, helping it move faster maybe. Okay, so I gotta read the physiology on this one. Jellion's body is squishy and coated with a semi-permeable membrane. However, it has evolved 6 limbs for locomotion. It has horseshoe-shaped organelles on either side of its head, on each of its legs, and on its tail. It also has a large green mitochondria on its forehead and back. Other than these, it lacks any sort of eyes, mouth, or facial features. So again, it has that magnet motif as both a tail and as horns. It doesn't have any eyes or mouth, which I absolutely love for this mon. Eyes and a mouth are pretty much ubiquitous for any type of creature, but this one looks more stoic if it doesn't have it. It's got a very sturdy design, and it's very stoic, very ready for anything that's going to happen. Prepared. The very basic color scheme broken up with, again, what looks like motors and maybe lights on its legs. Break up what would be super simple. And then having the texture of, again, what looks like solar panels on the vertebrae? No. Membrane that's around the top of its body. Very interesting. It also almost looks like a cape, helping to bring some motion to the static standing creature. Even though it's supposed to stand still, having what looks like a cape on its back makes this creature look more active. Imagining it in animation, you could just see it standing completely still with some flowing winds. Better than just everything being still, nothing flowing at all. Most Pokemon would have like fur or something that could move. Since this wouldn't have that, I feel like a cape is a very good addition. I would 100% have Jellion in my team. It looks so cool. And then I'm always a sucker for canine looking Pokemon, even if it's weird and has 6 legs. Cottony. Whimsicott, which I love a Whimsicott. Mistrevis. Mismagius. Barand. That is a strange looking Pokemon. The Hand Dragon Pokemon. The appendage at the end of its tail is its primary form of attack. If it is able to deftly manipulate objects with it... And it is able to deftly manipulate objects with it as if it were a hand. I like the idea. I feel like if you were going for a dragon design, you could go for like the Eastern 3-clawed hand instead. It looks very strange being the cartoon 3 fingers and a thumb. Maybe the uniformity of having the 3-pronged hand would help it look more natural, but we'll see with the pixel art. That's, again, so strange. Maybe you can even do like a two thumbs and 2 fingers. Maybe that would look more natural, but having the 3 and the 1 thumb looks real strange, especially when it's basically in that position for most of its shots. I feel like uniformity could have really benefited this design. Heck, like I said, maybe if you even kept it away from looking like a thumb and having 4 fingers that looked exactly the same, that would be cool. Because you don't need a thumb to interact with objects, and I wouldn't expect many other creatures to be able to. But having the digits to grasp would be enough. Another thing I'm not so sure about this design would be its proportion from head to body. It looks like it's just forming into it. If it was a higher level Pokemon, maybe I would expect it to have a smaller head that grows into a bigger body before shrinking down. Kind of like Arbok. But if it was a baby, I would expect it to have a bigger head and then just a tapering body. It doesn't grow bigger, just same size and gets smaller. Besides the hand, it almost looks like just a baby Pokemon to me, but with more spikes. Maybe if you made the horns longer, maybe you could lean into an Eastern influence here, have some tendrils going out of its nose, give it a beard. That'd be kind of cool. Make it look like it is more aged than it looks right here. That would help it stand out on its own and not look so basic. It would give it something to break up the design. You might not even need the same color underbelly, you could just give it a luscious orange beard, and that'd look fairly unique, because I can't think of many green dragons with orange beards. Closest I can think of is Shenron, but I think it just has the belly that's like a yellow, maybe an orange. But you can keep the orange from its eyebrows and its spine spikes. Again, I don't think it's a bad idea. I just would not have this implementation. It's very interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. Slug, the sea slug Pokemon. A Pokemon highly sensitive to the changes in seasons. Slug come and go with the warm undersea currents. Huh. Oh, that's adorable! It's a very simple baby Pokemon design. That again, the main body is very rounded, but it breaks up the roundedness with both a pointed tail and having its fins spread out into different spikes. I had to look it up, but its tendrils almost remind me of a lionfish, especially with Glivenugg. The spikes are pretty much everywhere and almost ward off enemies with its texture alone. It's nice to see that even the baby Pokemon show this off or hint towards it with a later evolution. It being water ice make enough sense. It's got a very dark blue top and a very, very light blue underbelly and base body. So I think it can show off water especially, because blue is pretty much everywhere in this design, and ice is represented by the very light blue, and even the contrast with the dark, so it could show off two different forms of water. And then two little things that I absolutely find adorable. I'm a sucker for the little curtain lips, I'm gonna call it, that you can find on teddy bears or like weird anime that's trying to be cutesy, but it almost looks like a rounded W or two U's, where it loops around on the bottom, giving it almost two half lips. I'm a sucker for that. And then the super droopy ears. Oh, it's too adorable. It looks so happy to even be alive. Oh, fantastic. Glivenugg. It looks very majestic. I feel like the back design could have had more action in it. As it is now, it's kind of generic and all you're seeing is its back, like it's showing its back to you. I understand that it's trying to be the same exact position on both ends, but I feel like Pokemon, even though in a lot of cases I would like that too, if it just shows the back of the Pokemon, they try and mix up the poses so that everything looks a little bit more natural or pleasing or energetic. This one just seems to be like a direct mirror, which I do have respect for, and trying to come up with that on... you basically have to come up with everything about a creature's design in that one go. Like, from the front, you can't tell that there is this line in the back that matches its underbelly, where there's just a straight line through the back. But they had to... The artist of this creature had to think about what is on this creature's back. It might not have been a big deal, but it is something that he had to think about. And it seems like the male and female differences are only that the female sprite has longer head fins. I can't see anything else that is different, but I could be wrong. Anyway, much like the original, I absolutely love this design. The original, I don't think had this so much, but again, like a lionfish, each of these spikes on this creature seem to be jutting out in a defensive way, and these ones are tipped in purple, which in the Pokemon world probably means poison. Oh, okay. Okay, so I can't see anything that even references poison, because I'm pretty sure a lionfish has poison on the end of each of its sticks, but I love the design. The purple also helps break up the various shades of blue like the previous evolution has, and makes this creature look a little bit older. Maybe, like the end of its spikes are slowly dying down, or are more exposed and haven't fully formed and are still kind of stretched so they're a purpley color. I'm not sure which it's supposed to be, but I'm a fan. It's very cool. Huge fan. The bulbous head still gives it an air of playfulness, but it almost has a worried expression on its face. But even the positioning, it looks like it's... Maybe it's just because it's in the water, but it looks ready to go out and play more than anything. And then the Easter looks so happy, especially the open mouth on the front sprite. It looks like, hey everybody, Gather around. Time for a hug. Let's bear hug this. It's super happy. I won't comment on the coloration of those sprites. Or I'll try not to. S51. Okay. A particular life form that hovers above the ground with a mysterious force. Rumors say they come from outer space. I think this is the second mon to come from outer space, so I'll say that this one's definitely strange looking. They all are. Okay. So already S51 is a very interesting design. The shading on the saucer itself, I love. It is very basic, but it shows the type of material that the saucer is made out of. However, with the creature and whatever arms or limbs it has, it seems too basic for my liking. I feel like you could have hinted at the creature it evolves into a little bit more by either having it be that deeper shade of green, or having some sort of design on its head, or having mismatched eyes that are bigger so you can tell the different colors. All that's in order to show off the different forms without looking too different, and just to add in a little bit more design to both the head and the arms. Because you were stuck with that design for about 40 levels, and I would be surprised if that's anyone's favorite, just with how simple it is, even for a baby Pokemon. I feel like pseudo-legendaries who have a similar level up distance are very heavily designed, just so that it looks like it could be, that it's more than just a baby Pokemon. This one, you're stuck with what looks like a juvenile for 40 levels, and it's gotta look kind of funny using this to defeat what could be a Charizard of the same level or even lower. It throws me off. S51A, and its Mega Evolution. S51, or Mega S51. Strange. Oh, so it can be encountered but not caught. Wait, no, that's the first one. Looks like you could catch S51. See, even if it has bigger eyes, it would look a little bit different, but it's very basic as it is. Some people suspect that Behem, Clefable, and S51A are conspiring to invade the planet. No one is safe. Okay. In the Pokemon world, yeah, people are very well armed. I feel like a lot of people are very well armed, and nature itself can be a force for destruction. Oh, I'm sorry. 3 species of Pokemon are coming after you. Hey, you Vettel. You think we can persuade you? Okay, so... Hey, there's a mothership form? Is that the mothership form? I'm so confused. I gotta see this. Login required? Okay, so I can't see the mothership form. Unless that's it. Well, I can't see the mothership form unless I log in. So, we'll go ahead with this. I like this design more. It is more intricately... There's more detail going on here. It's got limbs with a defined inner part of the limb, so you can tell where the palm of its hands are. I like how the saucer itself has a dome that is multicolored from what I can tell, and it does have some glass entities to show off just a little bit of texturing. The saucer being broken up with with yellow lines that are the same color as the palm of its hand help bring cohesion and to break up the design of the whole saucer. I find it most interesting that it has this, like, Simon Says lights on the saucer itself. I kind of like the boldness of that, of just having various colors in for no explicable reason, but it works because it's supposed to be a little bit strange and unearthly. It's a great use of that, since you already have what should be an out-of-this-world design. Plus, it makes the whole invading species thing just a little bit more child-friendly, and something you could go, that's adorable, you're trying to invade us. I should say that Psychic Steel for this makes complete sense. A lot of perception of aliens is either futuristic technology or some sort of telepathy, telekinesis, something like that. It's a mysterious power which can be easily represented by a psychic typing. And steel because it's part of their spaceship, so there's some metal involved that is almost armor plating, so steel makes perfect sense. It isn't gray, it isn't pink, but it's understood just through the concepts of the creature itself. The Mega, I don't have too much else to say. It looks like a bigger spaceship, bigger glass, double the hands, and the creature just barely fitting. So it seems older, it seems more experienced, and more powerful. The two cannons on the saucer itself do help with the Mega. It looks like it's getting ready to attack. This is specifically for offense, and you should get ready. So I do like those additions. I'll go to this next. I'll go to 100. If 100 still has an evolution, I'll go past then. Paraboom. Okay. I jive with some music Pokemon. It is highly sensitive to sound and can perfectly replicate any sound it hears, even human speech. It loves to hear fast, rhythmic music. My hope is that in battles involving this creature, you'll only hear that fast, rhythmic music. Like, no matter who you're fighting, if this creature comes out, it goes to a specific track. That would be absolutely amazing. It'd be a pain to code for one little joke, but it'd be hilarious. And I'd love it every time. Ooh, I think I like Paraboom. Okay, so this creature. Headphones on it, instantly you assume that it likes music. That connection's already made. The various pinks and purples, it could look like a poison type. In fact, with the way that I've heard some concerts go, I could see it being a poison type for multiple reasons. But I do think normal comes across because it's doing a normal human activity with somewhat desaturated colors. If you just see someone going down the street listening to music, it's pretty normal. So the action itself is showing a normal typing. It's a very interesting way to do that, because most of the time I see a creature doing some action, it's related to a different type because it's special. But this one's kind of flipped on its head by doing a normal, or an everyday task to represent normal typing. I don't know what kind of creature this is supposed to be, but it almost looks like a shrew. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, the Halloween. Oh, that's so cool. Parasaurolophus. Oh, okay. The near-crested lizard. Okay. And then I'm pretty sure that crest was a sound tube, right? A sound chamber? I really love that. So that makes the sprite a little more understandable too, with the hole in the back of its head. It's all one nasal passage. It almost has a blowhole, I guess. But I like it. It just seems to be wearing regular street clothes. It has fins for some strange reason. It loses those in the evolution to get claws, which I guess is a form of growing older, having more fine motor control. But I am in love with this design. It is so simple. I love a good music mon. And I can relate, just because I love music. Who doesn't? Younger me doesn't, but hey, you know. Paraboom. Yeah, it looks a little cocky. I like it. It uses massive sonic booms to attack from a distance. An encounter with one will leave your ears ringing for days. Oh boy. What I'd give to see this in Explode fight. I'll be like 3 miles away, but I'll hear everything clearly. It looks almost dastardly. Maybe a little bit malicious, a little bit of a trickster. Its grinning eyes and large toothy smile I'm a huge fan of. Ooh, it's got some detail on its neck too. Like it almost has a fin, but it's much more restrained. I kind of like that. It blends in and isn't a stark color that's different from the rest of its body. It doesn't try and look different. Again, the purple looks very much like a suit. This time the tail cuts off into different stripes of both the very desaturated yellow and the bright purple. It just looks bigger, and it keeps the same color scheme. Hey, you know what? That's perfectly fine. I think the design was strong enough to warrant 2 evolutions. 3 would be pushing it unless you really tried to mess with the equation. I'm a big fan of this. It is that's just cool. And I guess it could be a fossil Pokemon. Is Paradio? Maybe it's just found in the world. I'm not sure. So going down, starting with 78. Kokaran had some strong showings. I love Tubberjaw. Snail's line, fantastic. Newpin's line, Glass Slug, and Paradio. Although I had so many hits with this. I love this segment of the Pokedex. There were a couple signs that I'm iffy on, but like I've said, it's all taste. But this one hit a chord with me. So many that I'd try and add to a team or try and catch if I saw in the wild. Fantastic. I absolutely love this. I guess there's about 100 left to go over, so, well, who knows? I might do another one tonight, but as for right now, I could use a little bit of a break. I'm kind of just hyped. These are really cool designs, and I have to give props to whoever made these. Big fan. Big fan. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great night. See ya.